Good morning, Cindy here, and this morning we are going to take a November garden tour. I thought we'd look around, we could see what is doing great in November, what plants I have been really impressed with for the entire year. We'll look at some garden chores that I need to attend to. I'll tell you what things I'm planning to prune now, what things I will wait until after our freeze. We get a first freeze usually in the middle of December. So we stay in the 40s through November. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look and see what's growing here in November. A little bit later in the video, I thought I would share with you some of my favorite gardening books that I really rely on that help me make decisions. So stay tuned for later in the video and I'll share those with you. To start off the video, we can look at my pretty black urns that I potted up for fall, and the right side looks great. So I have pentas, and these were some ornamental peppers that were really pretty and orange, but now they have, all the orange has fallen off and I'm getting some new growth, and there's some little new buds. This is celosia, and it is kind of floppy. I guess I should have trimmed it. And then I have purple heart trying to fill in here. So that side looked pretty great. And then this side, the squirrels decided to dig all of this left side out and plant their nuts there. So there you go. That's what happens. I wanted to show you, I was talking about I just stick the coleus in the soil and there they go. They are looking great. I think it's been nipped by these cold mornings because it's not quite as green as it was. And there's some purple coleus. So if you just stick them in the ground and keep it well watered, those coleus are really easy to propagate. On the front porch, I was going to show you my Kimberly Queen ferns. I have one left and one right. These have always do really well on the front porch, but right now that winter sun is really low in the sky and it is really kind of burning the front of my Kimberly Queen. I think that should not be quite as much of a problem now that we're in late November. First, for several reasons. One, the sun is not quite as hot, and if I slide right around here, they're about to go into the garage. So I do keep them in the garage all winter long. I will trim them back some, but you can see this whole side has just been burned. I've shoved them back as far as I can in the corner, but they still, that sun is very low in the wintertime. Okay, walking down from the front porch, my favorite abelias are looking fabulous. These are an evergreen shrub, and I do have to clip them or they would be as tall as the house. But I don't mind that because I love the beautiful evergreen color that I get. This is a lemon lime abelia, and these in the back are the Rose Creek abelia. And so I have that on the left side too. And it is just very nice to have something green out here when everything dies back in the winter time. So I have quite a few salvias. They are pretty well spent. The flowers are just barely hanging on. They've turned fairly gray now. And I bet if I had given this a third trim, they might have put out a little bit more growth. I trimmed them in June and I trimmed them in late August, and it really helps them start producing more flowers, but now they're pretty well spent. And if our first freeze, these will be completely gone. Down low, I wanted to show you my ground cover. I have ajuga on both sides of the sidewalk, and I wanted to get closer to show you that some of my ajuga got a little brown from the hot sun, but it's all starting to come back. and I just feel like it's just a really great ground cover. 90% of the year, it looks fantastic. It's evergreen, unless we have an ice storm, and then it really does get nipped. And then here, I have some phlox, and this gets covered with the purple flowers in the spring, and the deer have really enjoyed that. There's some more of the ajuga ground cover, and we have over on this side, we have the salvias and the phlox and the ajuga. And then here is a Shasta daisy that looks so great. It's not blooming anymore, but I think it's just such a pretty green plant. So this has white daisies all over it in the spring and summer, and then the rest of the year it's just a nice low green shrub with really nice big leaves. So I really think that adds a lot of punch to my front garden bed. And then here, one of my favorites, this is Salvia Mystic Spires. This is about 4 feet tall, and it's still got some of these beautiful purple flowers, and the butterflies and the bees just go crazy for this thing. And then I have an agapanthus here that never has bloomed. And so I'm thinking I might have to put this in a pot and see if I can improve the soil. Maybe you guys could comment below and tell me, what can I do to get this agapanthus to bloom? Going back to the left, I was going to show you I have another stand of Shasta daisies. Now in here, this bush needs some help. I need to get in here and trim off some of these masses of dead plants. It would really appreciate me cleaning up this plant. The one on the right side has cleaned itself up, but this one needs a little help. Just with my clippers, just clip off some of these dead parts. My coneflower is hanging on. The deer have really enjoyed my coneflower this fall, so it is very pitiful looking. And I have another Henry Dahlberg over here, and this one is showing signs of a fungus. It's got a white fungus on all of my leaves, and I'm going to just take the whole thing down really quickly. I do not want that fungus to spread to anything else, so I'll just chop it really low, and then in the spring when it comes up, that fungus should be gone. And then I have a beautiful, this is about a 5-year-old cherry laurel shrub that's super happy here, and it must be just perfect in the drip irrigation because it's huge. It's as tall as the house. But I love it. All right, so that's the part of the yard close to the front door. Let's keep going around. And I was going to show you my yellow lantana is not blooming right this minute. So along the front of the house, if I get back a little bit, you can see I have a nice long bed, and I have a lantana, and this is a fall aster, a lantana, a Mexican sage bush, some morabilia, and a salvia mystic spires. So I've tried to put in really tough, sun-loving, alkaline, limestone-loving plants, and it has been it's been a success. They are just as happy as can be. This, I will put a picture up of what this looked like October 1st. This is the fall aster. It was covered in the most beautiful purple flowers, and that show is over now, and so from now on I just have like a green shrub. My evergreens in this flower bed are Ailia. So there's an Ailia here, there's one here, there's one here, and there's one here, and they're babies. But eventually I'll have an evergreen show all the way across. And then, but I want to get a little closer to this lantana. This is the bandana series, and this one I think is maybe lemonade or something, but isn't that pretty? It is just really loving the cooler weather. But this lantana has produced flowers almost all spring, summer, and fall. So you can't go wrong with lantana. Usually my yellow gold lantana is doing better, but right now it's looking kind of puny. I've got to get my shadow out of the picture. Now this is just a real showstopper here. This is Mexican bush sage, and it has been putting out beautiful purple flowers October, November, and November. And I don't know how long they're going to last, but they are like velvet. They are just absolutely beautiful. And I highly recommend one of these. They are a very boring green shrub, spring and summer, but then in the fall, you get their beautiful show. And then here is one of the young abelias. And these are, I'm going to need to kind of trim them up a little bit. They're getting a little scraggly looking. And then I have here, this is May Night Salvia. And this guy is really going to needing some help. I don't know if I have some kind of slugs or snails, but I am going to trim this really hard right after this video. I'm just going to trim it really hard because something has been eating the leaves and it just needs a little trim, and it might even have the same fungus that some of my other salvias had. Look at this Mystic Spires. This is a new Mystic Spire, so this one is only 1 year old, and it has taken over this entire corner of my front yard. Look at this. Isn't she beautiful? And she's still covered with tons of purple flowers. So you got to get a Salvia Mystic Spires. They love our difficult soil. They love the intense heat. Now they do die back, so when we have our freeze, it'll become brown and brittle. But for 9 months of the year, she is the showstopper queen. Let's go to the street now, and I'll show you what's growing at the front of the property. So I have some really ugly electrical equipment, very important to the house though. And so I have planted these Nellie Stevens holly all around it, and they are doing great. This is year 3, so this this is the year that they should really take off and really hide this electrical equipment. So I have a red leaf yucca. The yuccas are my favorite Central Texas plant to highly recommend to anyone. They're evergreen. They have a spiky, long, strappy look to them. And in the spring and summer, they get these tall stalks with pink flowers on them. They're just beautiful. And another one of my favorites are these beautiful purple trailing lantanas. These are tough. They love the full sun. They don't mind our horrible soil, but they did take a lot of supplemental watering this year. I don't have a water system out here, so I did have to keep watering them about once a week because we just had such a terrible drought this year. But there's another beautiful yucca, and as I walk down, I've got another really pretty lantana. And then back here I have a Zexminia, and I'll put a picture on the screen. This is going to be covered with yellow flowers, and it is a tough perennial, comes back every year, but this is newly planted, so it didn't put on much of a show this year. Another yucca, my favorite Texas sage. This Texas sage covers itself with purple flowers before or after a rain, which is a lot of fun. And then those purple flowers just disappear. They only last a couple of days. That's my house. Another young, trailing purple lantana, another yucca. And then I put some more just tough lantanas over here. For some reason, this part of the rocky area just has a hard time growing anything. So I just put in a tough Texas gold lantana that's going to just get the yellow flowers. But this one is new and struggling still. And then I have shown you a video last week about my new Texas sage baby plants, and they are doing really great. I do have to water them quite a bit while they are first getting established. And then here is another fun plant. This is a Yucca rostrata. This will get quite tall, perfect for Central Texas, very drought tolerant, doesn't care if we don't get any water. And it looks like it's splitting, and it's going to have 2 ponytails very soon. So I'm excited about that. We're very lucky to have all these wonderful live oak trees on our property. They are doing great. My grass is zoysia grass, which is fairly drought tolerant. I do have a problem here. We have a water issue, but I did have a really bad chinch bug attack this year. And so we treated it with chinch bug pesticides, and things are looking better. My grass is starting to recover. Walking up to the gate, I have 3 really great looking cherry laurels. This is year 3, and they are finally taking off. I'm so excited. And they are a really great screen for the property. In my neighborhood, you have to have wrought iron fence or chain link fence. And so I really wanted a little more privacy, and they are just doing perfectly. They did have some trouble during the ice storm, and so my plan is if they get covered with ice, I will come out here quickly and either tie them to this back fence or do something to keep them from folding over. I lost 2 in the front yard. They just completely bent over and snapped. So I will make sure to do something to protect these if we start having ice storms. And on the left, I have a great vine. I do not recommend this vine anymore. This is star jasmine. It's covered with white, gorgeous smelling flowers in the spring, but star jasmine doesn't make it through our cold snaps anymore. This one seems to make it because it's in a protected area. It's got its own little microclimate going on over here. It dies completely back when we have freezes, and then it comes back every year. But, you know, some of our freezing times are a little iffy, so I would not be planting any of these anymore. Another reason that this star jasmine probably made it is it's quite old and well established, and it has really great deep roots. So that may be why it made it through the storm. All of the other star jasmines I planted all over the property all died in the freeze. Okay, so coming in, you can just do a little pan around. There's my water barrel, rain barrel. I have one on each side. Had to use that this year. Got a little creek here. We've got several paths. We've got a left, a middle, and a right. So let's take the right side path first. Got another pittosporum in a pot here. And I wanted to show you the star of my backyard, and that is Miss Thryallis, Thry, Thryallis. And this is 5 feet tall as me. And so this is a really good plant if you want to like separate your areas into rooms, because it definitely makes a really great screen from this side of the property and this side. So we just love it. Or you put it up against the sides of your property. And it mixes beautifully with purple. So if I look on this side, I've got a salvia. This is another one of the Henry Duelberg salvias. And then there's another Thryallis on the left. So what a gorgeous mix this is. two yellows and a purple. And then I have another one down the way a little bit. So there's another thryallis and a Russian sage. Got a fall aster. The purple flowers are finished blooming, but this was covered with purple, but it was only for a month. So I was told that next year, if I shear it back by a third in June, that I might get a longer period of the purple flowers. So I'm going to do that next year. This is Mexican honeysuckle. This is new. Everything in this garden I'm going to show you is all new this year. And so this is only, 2 feet tall, but I know it can get 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. So it'll really fill up this garden. And it's got these really pretty little purple tubular flowers that all the pollinators love. And then I've got some flame acanthus. I've got 2 of them. And those are really good Texas natives. And these get quite big. So I'm probably going to have a problem with how close I put these flame acanthus and this Mexican honeysuckle. So I'll probably be moving somebody. Jewels of Au Pair. And this was given to me. And I don't even know what it's going to do, but it has these really pretty little jewel purple flowers on it. Supposedly this will get fairly big. Another flame acanthus. There's another of the fall aster. The last zinnia. This zinnia has been so prolific, but it's time to clip that zinnia out. This is rock rose. Rock rose is done. It doesn't have any more pink flowers, so that's interesting. I did not know that rock rose wouldn't continue flowering in November, but it seems to be done. And then there's another pretty Salvia greggii behind it. And there's another Salvia greggii, another fall aster. So I have to say, this garden bed is not exciting in November. That's a Lantana and another rock rose. And as we continue on, we come to the pollinator garden, where my butterflies had such a great year. I highly recommend you get some Greg's Mist, purple Greg's Mist. There's a little bit left, if I can get close. And it seems like it's all gone and, turned into these little brown thistles. But there are no more butterflies. They have all moved on. But this was a lot of fun. All spring, summer, early fall. This was such a lot of fun. And now it's pretty much gone dormant. Here to the right, I have a Turk's cap. It is somewhat shady right here. I've got a nice tree right over it. And so this Turk's cap has enjoyed the shade. My Pride of Barbados is just a green tree right now, no flowers, lots of seed pods. The Gara, I don't know about this Gara. It never looked very pretty. It didn't get enough water, I guess. So I think I'm going to take this Gara out. It just was not happy here. So not loving the Gara. Butterfly bush did really well this year. It still has some purple flowers on it, and the butterflies definitely loved that. Okay, we've got lots of bird feeders back here. I've got 3 different poles with feeders, and my husband really does enjoy feeding the birds. There's a beautyberry, American beautyberry back here against the back fence. Here's a quick patio look. I have a wall of shelves that I just love. I have a video on how I did that. And it's a great place to hold your potted plants. It makes it a lot easier to water everything. Got some coleus. Look at the Christmas cactus. This is old. This is oh, probably 10 years old, and it's got blooms all over it. It really likes this cold snap we had. That coleus, everything here will go in the garage though. They can't make it. And then more boxwood on the left side. And plumbago. My plumbago has been so happy here this year. Look at this. You got to get some plumbago. It filled up this whole corner. And then my ground cover is ponyfoot. So I have more cherry laurels planted as a screen from the street. And they go all the way down as a screen between my neighbor's house. And if I keep walking, of course, every grandma has to have a baby swing. And I'll show you my center garden. This is a garden that is right in the center of the property. And I have a really cool plant here. Some of you may not have ever seen this before. This is Duranta, or sometimes it's called sky flower. And it is 8 feet tall. And all over it are these beautiful purple flowers. Aren't they gorgeous? And it provides a screen. It took it a while to get this tall. I hate that it has to go through a freeze and die back. But Duranta is a really cool perennial. There's 2 of them here. And in pots right in front, they had to stay in a very protected area, are Plumaria. So they love the sun. So there's a Plumaria there and a Plumaria here. And then right in front, I have my favorite plant is Colano. Colano is a really great plant for Central Texas. It loves the heat. It does not make it through our winters though, so it does come inside. But isn't that a cool plant? And it gets these really pretty flowers. Now you can't, this is nothing. It's usually a big old mass of flowers. I'll put a picture on the screen to show you. But Colano is a great plant for our area. And then some more of the Helen von Stein lamb's ear, because I like this variety because the ears are so big. And behind there is a leopard plant, and it's about to bloom. In November, our leopard plants get these gorgeous yellow flowers. That's about to open up. And a big old Turk's cap. This is another screen to kind of separate sections of my garden into different rooms. So behind there is what I call the wild area. And then I have a fern. Now this fern has to be in the shade, and I don't have a lot of shade in my backyard, but this is a very tough river fern. And there's another one back behind another spot. And across the creek here, I've been putting Lantana in everywhere because it's tough and looks good, takes abuse from dogs. And so down this creek bed here, I have a little bit of shade in the morning, but in the afternoon it just beats down really hot. So down at the far end, I have a lot of Skullcap. I highly recommend Skullcap. It can take a lack of water, drought situation. It always looks good. It stays low. And then here I have Yaro. Now Yaro, you cannot put this in just a regular happy garden bed. Yaro wants really rocky, drier soil. Otherwise, it just doesn't like to be pampered. So I do have Yaro growing in several places, but it is slow growing, and sometimes I'll get yellow flowers. But I don't know if I would recommend Yaro unless you just have a really difficult area of soil, and then it will be really happy. Isn't that funny? So if I get back, maybe you can see I have things in pots here. I have potato vine and just spider plant, airplane plant. That kind of is a nice thing to fill in an area. All right, let's keep going down the trail. Okay, so heading back to the gate, if we take the middle road, the middle path, we have a creek to the left, and to the right, I have my bulb gardens, which I just love these. So there are daylilies and bearded iris all through here, and then a nice little evergreen. I mean, these have stayed a nice strappy leaved plant all year long, and until the freeze comes, I don't have a problem with how this garden looks. I've kept it well watered, and so the leaves are staying green. Have hardly had any yellowing leaves, so that's been nice. But look at this skullcap. It's just such a fun plant. It keeps the garden full, and so you don't have any naked areas. It goes all the way down. I love how it just stays low and has those little mounds. So all in here in the spring, this turns into the most beautiful show. There's daffodils, all kinds of daylilies, and of course the iris. So that's a pretty iris back in there. Now as we continue down, there is a couple more places to see. Cross the bridge, and you can see here we have a lot of bird feeders, and this is an area we call the wild, and we've got some fun tree stumps for the grandkids to sit and imagine fun activities, fun stories over here. There's no gravel here, but what I do have here I really love is these 2, 3, and 3-inch pieces of bark nuggets. So these make a great ground cover, and I have not had any trouble with weeds. Every once in a while you'll get some weeds, but they're very easy to pull up. And it's been great when dogs go frolicking in here, they're not destroying anything. On the right side, I have another bird bath and more Ailia. I let this Ailia go wild this year, and so it's pretty crazy. If I get up closer, I think you can see it just shot out these long limbs, and they are starting to kind of lean to the side, but I've really enjoyed these Ailia, and I've loved their flowers. For most of the year, these flowers were white, and now they're rose colored, and that is why they got their name, Rose Creek Ailia. Aren't they pretty? And that's evergreen. I really love to have some evergreen things out here. And then I have another of the fall aster, and this is the only hydrangea we can grow here. This is Oakleaf Hydrangea, and it is starting to go dormant. It did not really like the 40 degrees, I guess, and it will die back in the winter, and then I will get some beautiful hydrangeas in the spring. And then backing up on the left side, I have a raised bed. I did have zinnias in this top bed. I haven't put anything in there now. And then to the left and right, I have gomphrena. Let me get a little closer. This is just a really tough plant. Aren't those gorgeous? And it's time to take all of this basil in and make pesto. Well, I thought I would share with you some of the books that are my favorite resources for things that I am putting in, things that will do well here. And these are the best places to get great ideas for what I want to plant in my yard next. So this is one of my Bibles. This is from the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. And this is pretty much will help you with anything in the Central Texas area. These are free at most of the better nurseries, or you can go to growgreen.org and they have these also online. And this is full color, and it's broken up into shrubs, perennials, trees, and it really, if you plant these plants, these are native and adapted, you are going to have the most success here in Central Texas. Another book that I absolutely love and go to all the time is by Scott Ogden, and this is Gardening Success with Difficult Soil: How to Garden in Limestone, Alkaline Clay, and Caliche. And this one has been very helpful to me on, times when I've just been so stressed, but it's got a lot of pretty colored pictures. It gives you some wonderful ideas. This is where I learned about using shale and using the rock bar and pickaxes and what to put in the soil, magnesium and molasses. So this is a really great resource for those of you that are really serious about understanding our soil and what you can do to have better plants when you put them in. So the next one is a book by Skip Richter, and he has been a Texas gardener for years. I have seen him in multiple on multiple TV shows, PBS. He's a Texas AgriLife extension agent, and he really understands all the parts of Texas, but he really understands Central Texas. But this is a month-by-month gardening book, and it just really helps you. It's divided up into each month and what things that you should be doing each month. So I really love these. And both of these are available if you go on thriftbooks.com. Thrift Books, you can get these for like $8. My favorite garden journal is Notes. This is an Apple app. So if you don't have an Apple phone or laptop, then you might find something on Android. I know Evernote's the one with the elephant head. That one also is a really great note keeper. So the reason I like Notes is I start off with my phone and I gather information. You can put photos and videos in these notes, which is really great. So right here, this one says empty garden spaces. So I went around my yard and I noted all the areas that I need some kind of a plant to go there. And I just took pictures of them. So having the actual photos is really great. The next folder is my pictures of my sage, my new baby sage, and how it looked early on. I can look back and see, oh, I planted that in October, and I can see what it looks like in 1 year, 2 years, and I'll keep adding photos. The next one is fall plants that I really love. I find these on people's websites, going around to look at different gardens. And so it's all here in photo form. So I highly recommend using your phone and notes as a really great garden journal. Well, thank you so much for watching my November garden tour. I hope I inspired you to find some things that are growing great in my garden and that you might want to put in your garden. All righty, well, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you get a chance to get out in your garden and plant something or trim something or fertilize something. It's definitely time to do all of that. So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.